Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tim Burgess with Maximizing Results, and I want to welcome you to the webinar this morning. And it's truly an absolute honor to bring you this information. And together with a great group of people at Maximizing Results, Mr. Lindeman, Mr. Burgess, Mr. Phelan, and other people. I don't want to leave anybody out, but I can't mention all of them either. We'd be here way too long. It's because of the work they do behind the scenes that allows us to be here today. And I just want to make sure that we recognize them and each one of them for the work that they do, because it's absolutely fantastic. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to the webinar today. Once again, my name is Tim Burgess with Maximizing Results. And this all began for me about 24 years ago when I answered an ad in the newspaper looking for a job. Answered an ad in the newspaper looking for a job? Yeah. And I met a very, very, very wealthy man. And not just wealthy in money, but wealthy in life. And he taught me some really unique things that I like to share with people all around the world. And together with the help of the great team at Maximizing Results, we're able to do that. But today I'd like to talk to you about one thing in particular. And, it seems that in the real estate industry, there's this magic about getting to $100,000 a year. And I have to admit that when I first met the very wealthy man, I was thinking $100,000 a year, but I had never earned more than about $23,000. And $100,000 a year was just wow out there. So in this webinar, we'd like to teach you to do just exactly that, to get yourself to $100,000 per year, every year, and do that in 6 hours per day or less. You see, ladies and gentlemen, when I got into the real estate industry, I had two small daughters. I wanted to see them play soccer. I wanted to be at the practice. I wanted to be at the games. Matter of fact, I wanted to be the coach. So I was. But I couldn't do that if I continued to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week for chicken feed. We wanted to build a system that allowed me to have the money and the income and the time. And there's a saying out there that's not accurate. It says, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And I just say, why not? Why? Ladies and gentlemen, there's no question you can earn $100,000 each year in 6 hours per day or less if you follow a proven system. There's no question about this at all. No question. And for those that stay to the end, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very, very special gift for you. For those that are still here at the end, and we know with all this technology stuff, we know who's here at the beginning, we know who's here at the end, we know how long you're on, we know whether you're paying attention. I mean, this thing just tracks everything. But if you're still here at the end, ladies and gentlemen, we have something we'd like to share with you that if you'll implement it, it can change the direction of your business tomorrow. That fast, yes, that fast. But you are the one who has to implement it, okay? We can't implement it for you, but we'll give it to you. And actually, we have a couple of things we'd like to give you, but you have to be here at the end to receive them, okay? So one of the questions that we get all the time, ladies and gentlemen, because we do things pretty unique, and the question is, why in the world do we do this? Well, I mean, why really do we do this? And the bottom line is to help you earn more money in less time. You see, when I entered this real estate industry, I was taught to cold call people and offer a free CMA so I could just get my foot in the door. And the broker I was with, a little mom and pop broker at the time, told me that if I did that, eventually I would get a few listings. Well, I did that on a part-time basis for about 6 months. Oh my goodness. If you really want to go broke in real estate, be discouraged, cold call individuals and offer them a free CMA. Because in 6 months' time, ladies and gentlemen, not one listing, not one buyer, not one transaction, part-time. And I was told by a very, very nice man in the office that I probably wasn't going to make it. I really should consider quitting and just continuing with my job. Well, I have to be real honest here, ladies and gentlemen, that aggravated me. That one chapped my butt big time. And I did quit. I went and I quit my job and I jumped into real estate full time. I was taught for sale by owners were tough. And one guy said this, they'll eat their young. I jumped into real estate full time right after Thanksgiving. And then I'm told people don't list their homes in December. Did you ever notice everybody in real estate always has all the negative stuff that they're willing to just bestow upon you at will? So I jump in full time right after Thanksgiving. I'm told people don't list their homes in December. So I go on and I list 17 houses, 17, my first full time month. I closed 92 transactions my first full time year. I figured out how to implement these success principles, but I still did not know anything about real estate, ladies and gentlemen. That's the part that confuses a lot of people. How in the world can you jump in and list 17 houses and you don't know anything about real estate? Because I knew about people. You don't list a house without dealing with people. So I finally figured out how to implement these success principles. Now we do this to supply you with the information that will allow you to earn over 100 grand a year while you have time to enjoy your life. You have time to go to little Johnny's or little Susie's practice. You have time to be at their games on Saturdays. You have time to be part of their birthday parties. You're not answering the phone in the middle of a dinner because you don't need to, ladies and gentlemen. You don't need to. You know, I talked to my attorney the other day. Not really my attorney, he's just an attorney friend. If I need help, he'll help me. But anyway, I've talked to him, and I just out of the blue, I asked him, hey, you know, if you're on an appointment or you're in a meeting, do you ever answer your cell phone? And he actually started laughing at me. He said, answer my cell phone during a meeting? I said, yeah. He said, well, no, I turn it off. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I can't tell you the number of real estate agents we follow up with. And you can tell they're answering their phone during a meeting. We have them answering their phone. Oh, I'm in the middle of a showing. What are you doing? Don't answer your phone in the middle of a showing, please. I know I'm off on a little tangent here. But my goodness, this happens all the time. Now, if you're showing me a property and you answer your phone while you're working with me as your client, I can promise you I will fire you immediately. Because you just told me I'm not very important. That's what you told me. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to get these bits and pieces correctly. We have to. And one of the things that I'm going to ask you to do is to stay focused. Remove distractions. Put your phone on mute. Matter of fact, put it on silent. Silent. Turn it off. Lock the office door. I'm locked in an office right now, ladies and gentlemen. Hands down, I mean locked in. Not going to be distracted. Nothing's going to happen. No distractions. And the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, studies say that we are distracted like every 23 seconds or something like that. I don't know exactly what the study said, but I mean, it's ridiculous how often we're distracted. I'm going to ask you to remove the distractions for just a short period of time. Give us a half hour, 40 minutes. And we will share material with you that you can implement today and or tomorrow and increase your productivity and do it in less time. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said before, my name is Tim Burgess. And in 1980, I dropped out of the 8th grade. I didn't even graduate the 8th grade. For the next 16 years, I bounce around from job to job. I go through truck driving school. I become an over-the-road truck driver. That lasted all of a month. I had one job that didn't even last a full shift. They aggravated me pretty quickly, so I quit in the middle of the shift. I didn't even make it the whole shift. So in February of 1996, I replied to an ad for a sales job, and I found myself in a network marketing company. I didn't really want to be in a network marketing company at the time. And I really just wanted a job. But there was something in what that man said that night that made me realize that if I followed him and followed his advice and followed his systems, that I could get more out of life than I could get if I didn't. So I did follow him. And in 1996, that company was the fastest growing privately held company in the United States. Number one, according to Inc. magazine, it grew at over 33,000% in the first 5 years. And went from $0 to $195 million in just 5 years, 195 per year. This guy that started the company kind of took me under his wing. And they built the entire company off of the principles of a book called Think and Grow Rich. More on that in a minute. But then just a couple of years later, they got away from the very principles that made the company such a success, and the company started going the wrong way dramatically. So in 1999, I get my real estate license. In December, I jump into real estate full time. I list 17 houses my first full month. And oh, by the way, please take note of this. All 17 properties that I listed, all of them had a business card, a recipe card, or a sports schedule on the refrigerator from another real estate agent. Hopefully you heard that. Hopefully you really heard that. All of the properties I listed had a sports schedule, a recipe card, or a business card from another real estate agent hanging on the refrigerator, yet they went for sale by owner and then listed their home with me, not with the person who was hanging on the refrigerator. First year, I complete 92 transactions. I went from $23,000 a year. I'd never earned more than that to $139,000, increased my income 604%. But let's be transparent here, ladies and gentlemen. That was chaotic. I worked well over 60 hours a week to do that. I didn't see the kids much. I didn't see the missus much. Didn't have time for me at all. And I realized that, the money here was great, but good gosh, who wants to work that? Who wants to work those many hours? I don't want to do that. So we started creating a system. And in the next couple of years, I tripled that income, and I did it in about half of the amount of time. So basically, this little book called Think and Grow Rich allowed Tim Burgess to go from the one on the left to the one on the right. And it was all because of the principles of studying this book. Now, I'm going to offer you the same advice that the gentleman offered me when I first started studying this material. I said, get a copy of that book right there and study it every day for the rest of your life. What's that have to do with real estate, ladies and gentlemen? Absolutely nothing. It has everything to do with life. It has everything to do with growing rich, not just in money, in life. What this book really is, is this was written in 1937 at the direction of Andrew Carnegie. The 25-year study of success principles of why broke people are broke and why wealthy people are wealthy and what's the difference between the two groups of people. Now, I don't know about you, but that's all I really needed to hear for me to grab a copy of it and start reading it. And I can tell you without exception, right here's a copy of the book right here next to me. I read something out of this book every day and have done so since February of 1996. So just through studying these principles, I was able to pull that off in real estate without knowing anything about real estate. So what if you studied for a little while with us? What if you developed your system and you really started working a system? I mean, can you imagine what your life would be like when you're carrying 21 active listings? You have 11 pending properties on their way to the closing table and you already have 7 appointments set up. In other words, you're operating a business like a system. You're operating a business like a business instead of a hobby, instead of happenstance, instead of showing up at the office and I'll do this for a while, I'll do this. Whichever way this business pulls me, that's what I'll do today. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not running a business. That's a business running you and running your life. Now, as I was going through the success principle training and learning, one of the things that I'll never forget my first mentor saying to me over and over and over again was, Tim, you got to get your mind right. You got to get your mind right. Now, I had heard that many times as I was growing up. I heard that many times that I had to get my mind right, but I didn't understand what it meant. We'll explain more of that here in just a minute. But before we get there, let's satisfy all the legal eagles out there, because we want to walk you through a process that allowed this guy who quit school in the 8th grade to go out and increase his income of 604%. But all the lawyers make it so we have to tell you that my results are certainly not typical and the average person may not do anything with the information. That's up to you. It's not up to me. I will tell you, this is not for the get-rich-quick person or the person who wants to get without giving. Ladies and gentlemen, the first law in receiving is giving. You don't receive heat from a fireplace unless you put some wood in it or a gas log. You don't get the vehicle to start without giving it some electricity and some fuel. Giving always comes first. We're happy to show you exactly what works, ladies and gentlemen, but it's up to each individual to implement the process. It's up to you to implement the process, not up to me. Not up to Mr. Lindemann or Mr. Phelan or Josh or anybody else. It's not up to us. It's up to you. So one of the questions my first mentor asked me, and I'll never forget this, he said, Tim, there's two different types of people in the world. He said 97% of the population, when they retire broke, dependent upon friends, family, and the federal government to get by. He said only about 3% of the population actually reach total financial independence. Now, when he said that, I thought, good gosh, only 3% of the people get to that level? He said, yeah. He said, now, total financial independence does not mean millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. It can mean that, but it doesn't necessarily have to. Financial independence means that one makes a decision based on what one wants and not based on a number in a bank record. That's financial independence. He said, what's the difference? Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't have an answer for him. None at all. By the end of this particular webinar, my bet is you'll discover what the answer is. Now remember, the book is called Think and Grow Rich. And most people put all of the emphasis on the word rich, and really all of the emphasis should be placed upon the word think. Because unless you went to a different type of school than any other school I've ever heard about in this country, we were never taught how we think. And that's a really critical component for us to understand. How do we think? Not what do we think with, not how does the brain operate, how do we think? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I had no answer for that. I had been studying this book for 10 years, from 1996 to 2006, when I met a gentleman named Bob Proctor. And Bob asked me that question, how do we think? Now, I'd been studying Think and Grow Rich for 10 years, and I had no answer for the man. He said, it's simple, Tim. It's very, very simple. We literally think in pictures. He said, if I ask you to think of an airplane, what happens? What about a hot air balloon? Think of one of those. How about an exotic sports car? Or maybe think of a yacht. He said, every time I ask you to think of something, an image pops on the screen of your mind. He said, yeah. He said, now think of your life 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years down the road. I went, I'm searching for an image. He went, exactly. And then he drew this out and he made it so clear. He said, when I ask you to think of your kitchen, you have a very clear image on the screen of your mind. I said, yeah. He said, so when I ask you to think of my kitchen, you have no image to work with. I said, that's correct. He said, so if I ask you to think of your kitchen, you have total clarity, which means there's no confusion. If I ask you to think of my kitchen, there's no clarity and there's only confusion. I said, okay. He said, now in this kitchen analogy, it doesn't really mean anything. But if you don't know what your business looks like 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years down the road, you have confusion. And right behind confusion in the whole business world comes worry, doubt, fear, and anxiety. He said, so it's really important that we develop clarity as to what you want your business and your life to look like 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years down the road, so you can move forward with confidence instead of confusion. Now, shoot, this makes sense. As a matter of fact, that's what Napoleon Hill's talking about in Think and Grow Rich. He said, now we're talking about images on the screen of the mind. I said, yes, sir. He said, great, what does your mind look like? I have no idea. And maybe you just got an image of the brain. I don't know. He said, there's a guy named Dr. Thurman Fleet who in the 1930s, he said, mind is an activity, not a thing. And since no one had ever seen the mind, he would create an image we could work with to eliminate the confusion and bring clarity. And he gave us this. He said, we have a mind and a body. I said, no, you have a drunk graphic artist. Because nobody draws a stick man with a head that big and a body that small. I drew a lot of those things in school. I was bored. He said, no, pay attention. Your body is nothing more than an instrument of the mind. The mind is in control of the body anyway. But shoot, I've been studying this book for 10 years. It's telling me that. Okay. He said, now, in the mind, there's two different parts of it we want to talk about, a conscious and a subconscious. Well, I've heard those terms before, and my bet is you've heard those terms as well. He said, in the conscious mind, you can choose anything you want to think about. You can choose thoughts of abundance and prosperity. You can choose thoughts of goodness. You can choose thoughts of all that's going well in your life. Or you can think about the opposite of all of that. It's your choice. He said, but make no mistake, the thoughts that you choose ultimately create a feeling. And those feelings are then expressed through the body. And I'm thinking, he said, and then he asked me, do you have any kids? And I said, well, yeah, I have kids. And of course, I smiled when I said that. He said, see, right there, your thought of your child and your children just created a feeling. I went, shoot, he's accurate. He's absolutely, he just brought validity to what he's saying. So we choose our thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. The thoughts create a feeling, and then it's the feeling that's expressed through the body into action, not the thought, the feeling. And of course, the action produces a result. So in any area of our life, ladies and gentlemen, if we wish to get a better result, we have to get a better thought. Now, what's this have to do with real estate? Ladies and gentlemen, it has everything to do with real estate, because this was all I really knew when I got into real estate. I knew this, and I knew how to connect heart to heart with people through effective communication, which we'll talk about shortly. But this webinar is all about you. It's all about you. How can we help you get a better result, do it in less time? Or if you got great results, how can we just shave off some of the time? If you're putting in way too much time and you're still not getting the results, then we need to go into everything. Ladies and gentlemen, we're working with a gentleman right now who's got it going on. I mean, he's got it going on. He's producing 350 grand a year in income. And he joined us in our Produce Before You Pay. We'll talk about that shortly, because he knows that if we tweak his system just a little bit, he can have a lot more free time and still produce the same amount of results. This webinar is all about you. I want to talk about the one thing of how to earn 100 grand in 6 hours a day or less. It's not hard, ladies and gentlemen. If an 8th grade dropout boy can do it, you can too. And what we'd like to do today, in the brief amount of time that we have, we don't have a ton of time, so I can't teach. I'd love to. I'd love to take each one of you and teach you the necessary steps, step by step, exactly what you can do today and tomorrow to make sure you produce the results you're looking for. I simply do not have time to do that in the short period that we have today. But I would like to reveal 3 of the secrets that I utilized to increase my income and keep it there for so many years. Number 1, how 4 simple P's will dramatically increase your productivity. Not a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, dramatically. We installed this in a young man named Gary Rosignol and into his business. He doubled his income, and he did it in less time. Now, I know some of you are going, oh, that's bull, Tim. Some of your belief meter just hit empty. We just smacked the belief wall really bad. You're welcome to call Gary. His name's Gary Rosignol. He's the rock and roll real estate guy in Cincinnati, in the Cincinnati, Ohio marketplace. Call him and ask him. He doubled his income, and he did it in less time. Second secret I'd like to share with you is how you could decrease the amount of time you spend with buyers by 60%. When I first got into business, ladies and gentlemen, I did it all wrong. I did buyers wrong. And they ruled me, and I was at their beck and call, and it was ridiculous. And I got to the point where I didn't want to run with any buyers. I didn't want them around me at all. That was my fault, not theirs. And how a simple guide to success can increase your efficiency by over 50%. A simple guide to success. Ladies and gentlemen, do you have a guide to your success now? And if you do, congratulations, but 97% of the population do not. A simple guide. So secret number 1, let's operate our business from our 4 P's to success formula. Ladies and gentlemen, these 4 P's work in any sales industry anywhere. It does not matter. They work in real estate. They work if you're selling light bulbs to an amusement park. They work if you work at the auto parts store and you're selling antifreeze. It doesn't matter. So what are the 4 P's? Number 1 is plan. You see, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't plan your day, plan your week, plan your month, if you don't plan for your success, you automatically have planned for your failure. Now, I know you've heard that before. I know you've heard that phrase before. But do you have a plan for this week and for next week? My bet is if you had a vacation scheduled for next year, you probably have a plan for it. You know where you're going, when you're leaving, budgeted for it, what's it going to cost? Where is your plan for your real estate success? Next thing we have to do is practice. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't put enough emphasis on this one. Practice, 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 practice. And then practice some more. And then when you think you're good, practice again and a few more times. I love to use the analogy of Michael Jordan here. For those that know Michael Jordan, I might be dating myself. It's an all-star, could even be classified as the world's best basketball player ever. That's arguable. There's a lot of great basketball players, but he's certainly up there with one of them. Now, in high school, Michael Jordan got cut from the basketball team. He got cut. Do you think he practiced less or did he practice more? He practiced more. And then he finally made the high school team. And what do you think happened then? Yes, he practiced even more. And then he went on to college and went to the University of North Carolina. Now, once he got to UNC, do you think he practiced less? Not a chance. He practiced even more, with more intensity and more desire, more drive, more structure, more of a system. Won the national championship at UNC. Came out of that and got the big contract to play with the Chicago Bulls. He's got the Nike contract. He's got the Bulls contract. He's got it all. He's got money. He's got endorsements. He's got everything. Do you think he practiced less? Well, he already made the big time. Now he can practice less for sure, right? No. He practices even more. Then, I think it was 6 years of all of that putting in with the Bulls. 6 years before they won the national championship. And you know why they won the national championship? A lot of people say, well, this or that. No, they had the talent the whole time. You know what they had when they won the national championship? You know what they finally got? They got the coach. They got Phil Jackson. See, the year before they floundered. The year they got Phil Jackson, they won the championship. The following year, they got the coach. They had him again. They won again because they practiced with intensity. They practiced properly. See, ladies and gentlemen, practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. If you practice wrong, you get really good at doing it wrong. But make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, you need to practice your skills. You need to practice your outbound call. You need to practice your follow-up call. You need to practice your listing presentation. And you need to practice your contracts and your buyer presentation. There's so many things that we should be practicing. I don't know if you practice or not. I only know that true professionals practice their skills. And then we got a prospect. What sales organization could possibly make it if they don't prospect? And most people in sales, they don't prospect. I mean, I'm blessed to have a business partner with over 30 years in corporate America experience. And he was in sales for most of that time. Sales manager, general manager, sales trainer, this kind of stuff. And across the board, he'll tell me that his number one thing was getting people to actually prospect and to do that prospecting in the right frame of mind. So, ladies and gentlemen, the reason you don't prospect efficiently or effectively is because you're lacking practice. And you're probably not practicing because you didn't plan to practice. So we've got to get these 4 P's down and then follow up. Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake. The fortune is in the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. Oh, and by the way, how many of you have ever lost business because you followed up too much? But how many of you have lost business because you didn't follow up enough? See, we don't follow up enough. And then they list with somebody else, and then we blame them or we blame something else. Oh, my gosh. And it's all because our follow-up stinks. Let's just be honest. Come on, let's be honest here. It's just us on the line today. There's no for sale by owners, expired sphere of influence. It's just us. Let's be honest. Across the board in sales, according to Harvard School of Business, most people's follow-up stinks in the whole world of sales. We've got to change that, ladies and gentlemen. The reason one doesn't follow up is they get this idea in their mind that they're bothering somebody. They don't know what to say. I'm interrupting their dinner. All of this negative, yuck. Thoughts cause feelings. Feelings, actions. Actions, results. Change the thought, you'll do the follow-up. Change the thought, you'll do the follow-up. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, in my first year, I massively increased my income. Working over 60 hours a week. When I implemented these 4 Ps, I tripled my income. I tripled that income, and I did it in less than half of the amount of time. Now, I know for some of you, your belief system's just going crazy on some of this stuff. Going, no way, man. Yes way. Now, in February of 1996, I probably wouldn't have believed what I'm saying right now. However, I have done it. We have done it, not I. There's never, ever anything that you do all by yourself. I love it. People say, well, I went fishing by myself. Yeah, did you make your own fish hook? Did you make your own line? Did you make your own fishing rod, fishing reel? Did you go get all your tackle and make all of that? Did you go dig up the worms? Did you do all of that? No, we don't do anything by ourselves. We tripled our income. I have a team of people. I have a mortgage company and title company and all these people, right? And you can do that with a good quality team, and you have a team, whether you know it or not. Secret number 2, let's decrease the amount of time we spend with buyers by 60%. Come on, we are spending way too much time with buyers. We're working with people all around the world right now, and they're spending way too much time with buyers, way too much time. You don't need to hold their hand. I was working with a gentleman this morning, and he was telling me about a deal that's trying to go south, but he's resurrecting it. He's breathing life into it. And he's telling me about this, and he's telling me some of the things that are going on. And I'm listening to him, and he's explaining to, the agent is explaining to the buyer what all the fees are on the settlement statement. What? When did I become a settlement agent? I didn't. So what my point is, I recommended he give them the phone number to the title company. He doesn't need to spend that time with the buyer. The title company does. They'll explain it. Okay? This is a very simple system, folks. A very simple system with a buyer presentation that will allow you to decrease the number of showings of each client you get to work with. My average at one time was 12 per sale. In other words, I had to show 12 houses before they would buy one. We decreased that down to 4. We got to the point where we would show 4 houses. First thing you do is the buyer comes to the office prior to any showings. Now, I know some of you work virtually. I recommend you meet them at a library. I know people like to meet at the coffee shops and the little bagel shops and stuff like this. That's not professional, folks. Go to a quiet setting. Most libraries today have meeting rooms in them. You can go to that library, get a meeting room, and meet there. Nice and professional. If you don't have an office, utilize that. If you have an office, get them into your office. That'll show the professionalism you deal with. That allows you to demonstrate your professionalism. That allows you to, to convey what you expect from them, what they can expect from you. You see, that way they become comfortable working with you. And then you can install a mutual agreement. See, ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't dream of running around showing a buyer properties without a contract. I wouldn't dream of it. It's not going to happen ever. And I know some of you believe that's a good idea. Some of you believe I'm not doing that. I'm not. That's up to you. I'm sharing with you what I did to earn over $300,000 each year that I worked, $300,000 on 30 to 35 hours a week or less. That's all I'm sharing with you. So that's what we were able to pull off with me and just one other person. So I know that you can do $100,000 a year in 35 hours a week. I know you can. But we have to utilize the system. We have to implement the system. And once we put that system in place, we don't go against it. We stay with the system. Secret number 3, the simple guide to success. Ladies and gentlemen, this simple guide to success is the exact 6 steps that comes out of the chapter on desire in Think and Grow Rich. Then make no mistake, desire is the first principle because nothing happens without desire. And this simple guide comes directly from this. So step number 1, how much do you want to earn in the next year? How much do you want to earn before Christmas 2020? From now till then, how much? And then what do you really want to do? I mean, how many days per week, hours per day, and weeks per year do you really want to work? Do you really want to work, let's see, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, 52 weeks a year? Good gosh, I don't think so. You know, for me, it's real simple. 4 days a week, 10 hours a day, 40 weeks a year. That's all I want to work. Now this will earn us what? How much per month, how much per week, and how much per hour? The reason you want to know this, ladies and gentlemen, is because when you look at line 7, and you probably have on line 7 100, 150, 250, 350, $400, $500 per hour, you realize that you probably need to stop shuffling papers around your desk and moving paper clips and pens and doing the silly things around the office that do not produce results. If you expect a couple of few $100 per hour, then you need to do the activities that warrant you earning that amount of money. And that is the 4 P's: plan, practice, prospect, and persistent follow-up. Then we go in the simple guide to where's all this money coming from. We know we have an average commission, and if you're brand new to the business, use the average of your marketplace. Then you know how many transactions that you have to close or how many satisfied clients that you must have. Now you can determine, well, do I want to be a listing agent or a buyer's agent? See, for me, it was real simple. Ladies and gentlemen, if I needed 100 transactions, 99 listings and 1 buyer would be what I would write down. Why? Because studies have shown and proven that you'll work about 40% less time with a seller than you will with a buyer. For the same revenue, for the same volume, you got 40% savings of time. Once I learned that, I knew I wanted to spend all of my time as a listing agent. Not only that, but when you're a listing agent, who's in control of your business? You are. When you're a buyer's agent and a new house hits the market and it's Friday afternoon and you had plans Saturday, guess who's calling you Friday afternoon to see that house on Saturday? Yes, they are. Make no mistake about it. Now, this is steps 1 through 4. Then step 5 is the strategy. It's where you really write yourself a story. I don't have time to go in depth in this one, but without this piece of the puzzle, ladies and gentlemen, it's real easy to get caught up in same old, same old. Okay? But basically, you're writing a story. So step 1, I'm going to go through the 6 steps real briefly. Step 1, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Step 2, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money. Step 3, establish a definite date. Step 4, create a definite plan. We're working on that. Step 5, write a clear, concise statement of everything in steps 1 through 4. That's where we are right now. And then step 6 is to read this written statement out loud a couple of times a day. Now, to really understand this process, stay tuned, pay attention. We'll help you get through this. We truly will take you by the hand and help you create your simple guide to success that's in harmony with you, the direction you want to go for yourself and for your family. That's what we want to help you do with this piece of the puzzle. So let me ask you a question, because we can end the webinar right here. I mean, you've got information. We end it right now. You're on the line. We'll give you the gifts. But we can end it. But how would you like to work with us directly? So you build a solid foundation under your business so you can earn 100 grand, 200 grand, 300 grand each year while you still have time to enjoy it. Because ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake about it, information only is useless unless you know how to use the information. Information in and of itself is absolutely useless. Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich actually said this. He said, knowledge is only potential power. It becomes power only when and if it is organized into definite plans of action and directed to a definite end. So you may have all the knowledge in the world of real estate, but if you're not giving it a definite direction, that knowledge is absolutely useless. We have our youngest daughter is in college, and she is acquiring a great amount of knowledge. And I can tell you that all the knowledge that she's stuffing in that head of hers is absolutely 1,000% useless until it's organized into definite plans of action and given a definite direction to a definite end. The knowledge that she's getting is absolutely useless. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll help you with all of this. Hang on, I'm going to check something because if nobody wants me to continue, there's no reason to. Okay, got it. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll help you with every bit of this. I mean, we have Mr. Lindemann, who's got 30 years of corporate America. This guy's worth $250,000 a year in corporate America all day long, but he's not there. He's here to help you. We have Mr. Jim Phelan, another gentleman with 30 plus years, 25 years in corporate America. He was with General Electric when GE went from like 600 million to several billion. He helped put together the systems and the processes to get them to over $1 billion a year. So we've got these people, and they're here to help you. We've got a gentleman who will help you in role play and help you practice in the morning. This gentleman is without question one of the best in the country, if not the world, at helping you to deliver your message. See, if you don't practice your script, if you never practice a script, you can't get any good at this. Could you imagine being an actor? Think of an actor that you like. Tom Cruise comes to mind. Tom Cruise is pretty well known. Could you imagine him saying, nope, I like the movie, but I'm not going to practice the script. I'm not doing that. Nobody likes to be scripted anyway. I mean, it's an absurd thought. It's stupid. It's ludicrous. Of course we're going to practice. Of course we'll gain the knowledge, but if we don't put it to use, it's no good. No good at all. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll help you across the board, and you don't even have to pay us up front to do it. We do everything we do on this concept called produce before you pay. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I was in 9 other real estate programs, from Sweat Hogs to, Stephen Cates to Joe DeLeo to Bill Ayotte to Mike Ferry I was in 9 of them. Craig Proctor, I was in 9 other ones. And every one of them, I had to give them a credit card, and the least amount they rang up was $1,200 a month. Whether I produced or not didn't matter. They were getting their $1,200. When I started building this, and we were cranking real estate, and people were asking for help, and I wanted to help them, and I certainly believe that we deserve to be compensated for the help that we give, I realized that real estate agents didn't have a lot of money. And then I started digging in, and I found out the failure rate of real estate agents, what the average real estate agent actually earns. And quite frankly, I was dumbfounded. My first year, we produced what we produced. I didn't realize that I had done about 15 years worth of productivity in 1 year. So paying for a coach wasn't that big a deal. But I realized that most of the people that wanted my help and needed the help truly wanted to, and they believed what I believed. They believed they should be able to produce better results in less time. They didn't have the money. So we created the Produce Before You Pay, which is the only mentoring system in the world that allows you to produce before you pay. You will know what to do with the knowledge. You will absolutely know what to do in your daily method of operation. You absolutely will produce better results, and you'll do it in less time. There's no question about that. Mr. Grotto did that. Mr. Grotto earned $125,000 a year. That's on the low end, working less than 25 hours a week. Why? Ken likes his motorcycles. Ken likes to go on vacation. Ken takes a vacation once every month. So what do you get with this Produce Before You Pay? First of all, you get $100,000 income every year. And that's the main thing, and time to enjoy it. But this is a 52-week mentoring system. That's what it is. It's a mentoring system. This is not a coaching program. There is a huge difference between the two. Huge. You get 24/7 access to a coach. We don't believe that you have to wait until your allotted time to speak with a coach. That's a bunch of garbage. That's what I had as I was going through. I had an allotted time. So if I had an issue on Thursday, but my coaching schedule wasn't until Monday, that's when I could go over my issue that I had on Thursday. That's garbage. We practice with a pro. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all set up on a conference line. Monday through Thursday. Every morning. Pros on the line. All you have to do is get there, and you can practice with people who are practicing their skills. A to Z on building the proper foundation for real estate. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have a strong foundation under your business, you don't have much of a business. Let's just be honest. Ken Grotto said since he started studying the success principles that we teach and implementing them into his life and business, his income went from $40,000 a year to well into 6 figures. You see, there's the real Ken Grotto right there. He likes his motorcycles. And Ken will tell you that he's nothing special. If he can do this, you can do this. And I'll tell you this, I'm nothing special. If I can do this, you can do this. I mean, look where I started. Good gosh, you can hardly see the eyes on the one on the left with the t-shirt on. Why? Because the guy was stoned. That's why. higher than a Georgia pine. But you go to the other one, the one on the left, you go to the one on the right where I'm holding the book. There's just that book that made such a massive difference. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take you through your business plan. Your simple guide to success, you will have this down pat. You will have your story down pat. You will have it down pat as it resonates with you, not as it resonates with me or with any of the people in maximizing results, but how it resonates with you. And we'll make sure that you have this not only in writing, but also what to do with it after you have it. This is, once again, it's the only mentoring system in the world that allows you to produce before you pay. In-depth study and think and grow rich, responsible leadership, presentation skills. How in the world did I list 17 houses in 1 month, first full-time month, not knowing anything about real estate? Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't even fill out the contracts correctly. I knew how to present. I knew how to connect heart to heart. We'll make sure you know that as well. We'll take you through the 4 P's to real estate success, and we'll make sure that you have them as a matter of habit. You'll start doing these things out of habit. You'll plan your day, you'll plan your week, you'll practice your skills, you'll prospect consistently, you'll follow up consistently, you'll go to closings consistently. And all of that can happen because of how good you get at effective communication. Ladies and gentlemen, when I got into real estate, I understood the difference of the personality traits, how to identify each one of them, and then connect heart to heart to them. That training that I went through was completely invaluable. Even today, I use it every day. This effective communication, just in and of itself, just this little piece of it, is well right next to a $15,000 value. Just this. We'll go into active listening. Ladies and gentlemen, studies say that over 70% of the time we don't listen actively, we simply wait for our turn to talk. Now, you know you've been in a discussion before, and that's exactly what happened. We'll go into body language. If we don't learn to read body language, we're missing out on the communication. Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake, body language is over half of all communication. This young man named Chris Cooper with Remax Go Beyond, the reason he's with Remax Go Beyond now is because that's his brokerage. But when I met Chris in 2009, he was actually ordering used brake parts from eBay. You got to admit, that's broke, man. This guy goes from 19,000 to 89 grand in real estate. He owns his own brokerage today. At one time, he was pretty introverted. Now he's somewhat extroverted, and he made it to the board of directors at the board of realtors. Isn't that just awesome? See, we didn't do any of that for Mr. Cooper. He had to do it for himself. But he took action. He took action in the beginning on Produce Before You Pay. He didn't have any money to get a coach. He needed a mentoring system that would help him get his ducks in a row, and he could pay as he produced results. That's what he did. We'll go into prospecting. Ladies and gentlemen, just that one module, just the one, is over $25,000 per person in corporate America. $25,000 per person. We're not even going to ask you to spend that for 52 weeks. Not at all. Why is it that you don't prospect consistently? Why is it that you don't do that? Lack of practice, lack of skills, lack of confidence. I could go on and on and on. We'll eliminate that. We'll help you eliminate that. And who will you be prospecting? Lowest hanging fruit in the business, period, hands down. They're the easiest. Make sure you heard that. They're the easiest to list. Here's a fact, ladies and gentlemen. 37% of all homeowners try for sale by owner, and 94% of them list their house. And I was afraid of them. That's silly. What about expireds? I added 24 deals per year to our portfolio when I implemented a very, very simple expired system and worked it a few hours a week. That's all. Sphere of influence. Oh my goodness, the National Association of Realtors tells us that each one of you on the line today, is missing out on 20 deals per year out of your sphere of influence. Now, ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake. It's not that these people are not moving. They're still moving. You're just not getting the deal. That's all. You're just not getting the deal. So we have a system in place to help you make sure you always get the deal. As a matter of fact, we copied right off of a guy who wants us to copy. There's only one man in the Guinness Book of World Records for sales, and he did it mainly off of his sphere of influence. We'll show you exactly what he did, and we'll help you set it up. By the way, how much is one client worth to you financially? And if you just said something along the lines of 6, 8, 10 grand, wow, you're missing the boat really bad. You need to consider what is the lifetime value of your client. The lifetime value. See, we'll help you with this so you make sure that that client that you sell a house to this week or this month, they'll come back to you over and over and over again, if not for their own business, then for referrals. So let me ask you this question. Do you have a set of habits holding you back? I'll bet you do. I could raise my hand and say, yep, I sure do. And I know if I have a set of habits holding me back, everybody does. And the reason I say that, not that I'm special, I've just been studying this material for a long time. And even with studying the material, I still have a set of habits holding me back from being the best I can be. I'm working at it each and every day. I think to be honest, you would have to look at that question and say, yeah, I do have habits that are holding me back. Now, you have good habits too, but some of them are holding you back. So Judy Doss, she made the investment in herself. She went from 23 grand to 96 grand in 1 year. This young lady, without question, was a train wreck when we met. She was afraid to prospect. She wouldn't even call a for sale by owner over $600,000. She was intimidated by him. You're welcome to look her up. Judy Doss, D-A-U-S-E. She got into Produce Before You Pay. She didn't have the money to pay for her mentor. It's the only mentoring system in the world that allows you to do that. The only one, A to Z on building a solid foundation, in-depth, effective communication, think and grow rich, responsible leadership presentation skills. And then this one, ladies and gentlemen, your fortune is in the follow-up. Make no mistake, the fortune is in the follow-up. The reason people don't follow up is they have this nastiness and thought process going on in the mind that creates a nasty feeling, so they just don't do it. If you wish to remain in sales and you wish to be good at it, you have to get good at this piece of the puzzle. We have an outline for a follow-up script that's done and delivered in less than 90 seconds. We never have people aggravated at us because we follow up. We actually follow up with people way more often than anybody thinks we should, and they still don't get aggravated. Once again, I'll ask this question. How much business have you lost because you followed up too much? How much business have you lost? I want you to think about this, ladies and gentlemen. How much have you really lost? Because you followed up too much, you annoyed them so badly that they would never, ever do business with you because of your follow-up. Ladies and gentlemen, if anybody on the line could raise their hand to that, you're a rarity. Big time, because it generally does not happen. This is a piece of the puzzle. When you get good at it, you literally write your own ticket, write your own paycheck. No question about it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll take you through the listing presentation. See, there's a certain thing you should do as soon as you knock on the door. Most people don't know this. I ask this all the time. You show up at the house, you check the facade, you look at this, you look at that, you're looking at the outside of the house, you go to the porch, you knock on the door. What's the next thing you do? Most people have no answer. They're going, say hi when they answer it? No, there's something critically important that you should be doing. We'll help you customize your listing presentation. Why is that there? Excuse me. We'll help you customize this for you. See, ladies and gentlemen, the thing about a listing presentation is I didn't have one the first full year of business. I didn't have a structured listing presentation. I didn't have a PowerPoint like we have set up here now, and I didn't have one like we have now. Then I was able to list all those houses. So the thing is about a listing presentation, you must connect to the heart. Most people in sales try to connect head to head through writing, gestures, and words. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. We'll help you customize your listing presentation so you connect heart to heart. And we'll do this all under the Produce Before You Pay banner. Every bit of it. It allows you to produce before you pay. We'll get into role playing. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not practicing your skills, you're on your way out of business. It's just that simple. We have to practice. How to work with buyers the right way. See, I worked with buyers the wrong way. I did it all wrong, and that's why I didn't like working with them. Once we did it the right way, and I got it down to showing, averaging 4 showings per sale, I'd be happy to go out on a Thursday night and show 4 houses. I know we're going to sell one. I know they're going to purchase one. I know they will, but I had to get the system down to do it the right way. So now we've come down to you have 2 choices, folks. You do. You have 2 choices. You can same old, keep running your business the way you've been running it. For some of you, that's going to be fine. For others, you're not going to make it in this business. Let's just be brutally honest. Of all the people on the line this morning, all the people, over 85%, will not make it 5 years. Why? Training sucks. That's why. If you're doing all sorts of stuff instead of just following the 4 P's. So what do you get? Simple guide. Oh yeah. Daily method of operation. Practice with a pro. Effective communication. Customize your listing presentation. Shoot, that page there's $10,800. Prospecting. It's not uncommon for me to jump on a video call with you and prospect with you. In other words, yes, I'll call for sale by owners on your behalf. I'm not going on the presentation. You do that. But I will help you. For sale by owners. Expireds, I'll call them with you if you want me to. Effective follow-up. Buyers, working with them the right way. That's priceless. Ladies and gentlemen, just throwing the price on all of this, you got $34,000. And all of this is produced before you pay. It's the only mentoring system in the world that allows you to do that. A to Z on the solid foundation. Effective communication to the point where as soon as you shake somebody's hand or speak to them, you'll know what personality trait they are, and you'll know how to formulate your presentation. Think and Grow Rich. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you the same recipe for success that my mentor gave me in February of 1996. Get a copy of Think and Grow Rich and read a little bit of something every day for the rest of your life. We'll go into responsible leadership. My business partner, Mr. Lindemann, is an absolute expert in this subject. And oh, by the way, you are leading people to the closing table. Make no mistake about it. You are a leader. Presentation skills. Where do you sit at the table? Once you're in the house, where do you sit? See, Mr. Cooper went through all of this. And today he earns hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why? Because he took action. Judy Doss, she made the investment. She went from 23 to 96. Then she's well above 96. Now, why? Because she took action. Ken Grotto can go on vacation 1 week a month. Over $125,000 a year on 25 hours a week. Why? Because he took action. He took action, ladies and gentlemen. They didn't just sit around and think about it. They took action. So this truly is the only mentoring system in the world that allows you to produce before you pay. So what do you get? You get the simple guide. You get the daily method of operation. That in and of itself is worth more than it costs for the entire year. Just getting your daily method of operation down. The practice that we offer, the effective communication, the customizing your listing presentation, the prospecting, for sale by owners, expireds, follow-up, working with buyers the right way. Ladies and gentlemen, this stuff is priceless, absolutely priceless. So now we get down to where we have money or excuses. I'll never forget my first mentor telling me this. He says, Tim, you either have money or you have bad excuses, but you'll never have both. Because if you're full of excuses, you probably aren't earning the amount of money you should be earning. And if you're earning the amount of money you should be earning, you probably aren't making many excuses. Shoot, how do you argue with that? And another thing that he said is, Tim, we all have disposable income. You go to the dinner, you go out to the movies, you buy coffee, you buy stuff. You're spending money. He said, take a look around you right now and look at all the stuff you have that you've spent money on that you probably don't need. I went, okay, you got me. And then in February of 1996, I'll never forget, they said, you know what, we're going to ask you to make a wise investment in yourself. So instead of blowing your money turns into more money. I had never had anybody talk to me like that. My dad left when I was 9 years old. Mom worked 2 jobs. I'm the baby of 6 kids. Nobody ever talked to me like that. Turn money into more money. How do you do that? Well, it's not hard. See, money replenishes itself, ladies and gentlemen. You go out to dinner tonight, that money will replenish itself. However, the time you spend tonight going to dinner, that time never does. That time never does. So we want to help you get the time back in your life while you have enough money to enjoy life the way you wish to enjoy it. So now it's time for you to take action. And it truly is. You can go to maximizingresultsllc.com and learn more about our produce before you pay system. This system is proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. It helped this kid that quit school in the 8th grade go out and complete 92 transactions his very first year in the business. 3 years later, I tripled that income in half the time. Had plenty of time for the kids, plenty of time for the family, and plenty of money to buy the boat. And we'll help you do this all under the produce before you pay heading. Every bit of this under produce before you pay. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we want your commitment. I don't necessarily want your credit card. I want your commitment that you'll get off your butt and you'll actually do something with this game we call life. You actually do something with this business other than the average. Oh, by the way, the average agent sells 4.2 houses per year, earns $39,800 on 40 hours a week, gross commission income. We built this so you don't have to be average. We built this so you could supercharge your career, supercharge your business, and truly earn the amount of money you want to earn. Now, we haven't forgotten about your free gift. I know we're going a couple of minutes long. I apologize for that. So we will email you a template that you can use to create your simple guide to success right now. But we're not filling it out for you. But if you want to fill it out properly and you really want to get the last part of it correctly, seriously consider produce before you pay. If not, just jump in. I don't even know what you're considering. We're taking all the risk. We'll also send you a brief description of the 4 Ps. Plan, practice, prospect, and persistent follow-up. And ladies and gentlemen, I just am curious. I want to know what other company out there in the training space for real estate agents is willing to bet on you. What other one out there is willing to say, yes, I'll give you everything we have. I'll give you every system that I have. I'll give you the 24 years of study. I'll give you, Mr. Lindemann's willing to give you his 30 years of study. Mr. Phelan's willing to give you his 30 years of study. Josh is willing to give you his study since 04. That's 15 years. We're willing to give it to you, ladies and gentlemen. Give it to you. All under produce before you pay. Who's taking the risk? We are. We are. Now, there is an application process. Why? Because if your goal is to earn $25,000 a year, we don't have time for that. However, if you want to get to 20 grand a month, we should talk. So there is an application process, ladies and gentlemen. It's to make sure that we're working with people who we can help, who will utilize what we talk about, who will implement the system, and who will grow. And ladies and gentlemen, if any of you still have questions, there's my cell number. I know right now I'm giving that to a lot of people. My phone might blow up, but that's okay. Call me. I'm not going to try to talk you into it. I promise you I will not try to talk you into it, because if I have to talk you into it today, then I have to talk you into it again tomorrow, and I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in coddling and holding your hand and all that other stuff. No, no, no. You have to pull up your bootstraps and you have to do some work. But if you have questions about this system and how it works and how it can benefit you, please give me a call. My cell number is right there. Oh, and by the way, what's the difference? What's the difference if 97% of the population retires broke, dependent upon friends, family, and the federal government to get by, and only 3% of the population make it? My first mentor taught me this. It was probably March or April of 1996. And he said, Tim, it's simple. He said 3% of the population consistently invest in themselves. They never stop. They don't stop investing time, energy, and financial resources into helping themselves get better. They become better parents. They become better colleagues. They become a better leader. They become a better salesman, sales associate. They just consistently get better. And when he told me that, I think I made the unconscious decision that I would invest in myself, excuse me, the remainder of my days on this planet. I would invest in myself the remainder of my days on this planet, and we have done so. So, ladies and gentlemen, his name's Mr. Al Lindemann. My name's Tim Burgess. The website is maximizingresultsllc.com. Take action. Do something. You showed up here for a reason. You didn't just show up here because you had an hour to kill, or maybe some did, but that's not the reason to be here. You showed up here for a reason. If you're in tune at all with what they call the law of attraction, you know why you showed up. And now it's time for you to take action. Go to the website, get the information you need, give me a call. Here's my phone number again. Give me a call. There it is. I'll get it back up there. There it is. Give me a call. We'll answer your questions. Because, ladies and gentlemen, life is too short for us to just keep going on over and over and over doing the same old, same old. It just doesn't make any sense to do it that way. It truly does not.